whole situation that's happening in the world is pretty scary. We don't know what's going to happen. Nobody has a crystal ball. We have an idea what might happen. We have a lot of experts out there telling us what could happen. People that have invested in the stock market are kind of feeling a little shaky because that's fluctuating,
Yeah.
But believe me, war affects everything, not just
So,
casualties.
yes. So, I mean, whether or not we've got massive global calamities going on or just, what's been going on in your own life, if you're concerned about your credit, what's the first thing that you should be doing?
Well, obviously, keeping track. I mean, go and check your credit score. That's the most important. You should start keeping an eye on your credit because like I said before, it fluctuates. It goes up and it goes down all the time. So you go and check your credit score by either Credit Karma, just agency like that, or free credit report, and to see exactly where you stand. And as you can see, I don't know if you've ever checked your credit score on these these three credit bureaus. They're not all the same. So each one of them have a different rate. So for example, if you're 750 on Equifax, you could be 730 on TransUnion. You know what I'm saying? So it changes. It's because these credit bureaus, it's not government owned or run. It's private, and they don't get the accurate information on people's credit history. They're getting it from different third parties, or even so they're getting all that, and a lot of the information is inaccurate. So that's where a lot of people's credit scores start to go down, and they don't realize that they have a lot of inaccuracies and discrepancies on their credit reports that can really pose a problem, for them. So the first thing I would suggest is keep an eye on your credit. Very important, because it does fluctuate. One day you can have 700, 730, and the next day it could be less. But, and what we have is a more accurate credit reporting, service that we have. And it's more accurate than Credit Karma and the other agencies. So the closest one is I would say Equifax. So
it's important for people to realize that there are three different credit bureaus. They don't calculate credit the same way, so your score can be different. And a number of years ago, the government put in basically a check on them that every year you are entitled to a free credit report from each of the bureaus.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
It's important to take a look, make sure there's nothing that's inaccurate on those reports, because if you don't tell them about it, they're not going to make any changes.
No. And that exactly. And a lot of they're getting these reports from these third-party companies that don't even know anything about you. Or you could have old credit cards on your credit report that could be weighing it down. And just by disputing that and getting them taken off, having them removed, is a way to your credit score starts to increase. So when you take things off that are negative, and by disputing, and we can dispute all of those, which is great, but there's no promises that all of them are going to be removed, but you can dispute them. You have a right to do that as a consumer. This is your credit score. This is your social security number. This is all your information. So you have a right to all that information, and you have a right to dispute that. So that's what we do, is we dispute that, and have a lot of incredible things. But people have seen some bankruptcies removed. We've had collections removed, and that's what the company does. So.
Chip, do you have any questions?
I'm just writing down different things here. I'm actually getting educated a bit here. been through this a bit, not myself, but lost my dad a couple of years ago, and things with my mom and this and that, and I mean, there's so many different things that affect things, and so having a program where you're educating people and putting together the template for them to run by, it's so important. And I imagine, obviously this is really financial planning too, and a lot
Right.
of people are really leery about that, sharing their finances with people and so on, because it's so personal. But I mean, it's something that we've done for years, and it's really, really, really important to
Hmm.
get somebody you trust and knows what they're doing to kind of guide you, because most people don't know how to do that. I mean, most people are just going to take out a checkbook, see how much money they have in the bank, and so on and so forth. And just as you're
Yeah.
saying, behind the scenes, these surprises could be happening. So, I mean,
Yep.
it's really so important to have somebody to be looking over this with you, helping you out with the program and that kind of thing.
So with a lot of things, and I'm just going to mention also about some medical bills that are put on. Well, a lot of the information that is on your credit report is basically was never allowed by you, and they just put it on there. But that I just wanted to make that point. But we have had people using the services have their medical bills collections actually removed from their credit reports without even having to pay them. You're not, because when somebody sells your debt, there's another collection agencies that come and buy them. And to me, that just it's shady. Okay. There are lots of reasons why people can't pay their medical bills. And one of it is the lack of money. So, but having these derogatory items removed it's very important to know what the rules are, and seeing, because of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, we have a right as consumers to have all the information accurate and all the inaccuracies, obviously removed. That's one good thing about knowing your rights. And so what this company does is educates you in knowing how to prepare your future, how to plan correctly, how to budget, save, and to help build your credit and help your credit stay where it is and keep growing if you need it to be. So you give all those tools. And what's nice about that too is also preparing. So you were talking about preparing your future for your future. What we do also is will and trust. So the will and trust is very important. Now we think will as, okay, you're dead, then you have to, here, give your jewelry to your daughter, or, a certain amount of money you give to whatever you want to, give your money all to your dog. It's up to you. I've seen people do that. I've heard that. What's nice about having a trust is it's a living trust where, you give stipulations, whether, you could say at the age of 21, you can give it to your grandchildren or your own children and say, okay, you can make stipulations. They have to graduate in order to get this. So because you never know, things happen in life. Excuse me, with the pandemic, there are a lot of people that never expected to pass away. And I can give you a great example. My second husband, who didn't think credit was really important, also did not have a life insurance policy. And when you don't have any kind of life insurance policy or any kind of planning, in case of someone passing away, it leaves a lot of huge responsibilities to the family, the people that are left behind. And what's nice about this is that I'm in the process of actually writing out my will and my trust right now. And so the company does is guide you and helps you. And there's no extra fee for this. This is all together along with the other 14 services that we have. So it's important to have, your future planned. And it doesn't mean that you're going to die the next day. It's just that when you do pass away, you have something in place. And then they don't have to go to probate court and figure that out a year or two later after that. So,
Yeah, that's a great service to have. And it's important for folks to realize that all the planning they're doing with credit, it doesn't just help your life, it
mhm,
helps the lives of the people you're leaving behind.
right.
I had a situation after my mother passed away where a disreputable collection agency tried to convince me that she had taken out a debt after she passed away. And I had to go to court and fight it. And I mean, fortunately, I knew what I was doing and I won. But if you don't know what's going on, if you're not financially literate, then con men like this can take advantage of you.
Right. Yes. So there's a protect this, what this offers not only, educates you financially, but it protects you. So that's very important to have your identity protected. Nobody wants to go through that whole process where you got to, somebody steals your identity and uses it for evil. And nobody should be forced to be paying for somebody else's mistake. You know what I'm saying? For other evil doing. So it's not their mistake. They were doing it on purpose. But it's not the end of the world. I mean, there's ways that you can get yourself out of these financial situations, and there's help out there. And what's great about the company is that the company offers help that the people need. So it helps people as a whole and teaches them from credit restoration to the end when they don't need it anymore. And and that's what I love about it. And that's the reason why I decided to, pursue this. And I wanted to help as many people as possible.
Great. Well, we are coming up on the end of our time. So if somebody needs help with their credit or wants more information, how can they get a hold of you?
Well, they can call me. They can text me, call me. I'm available. You can reach me at 860-815-7389. I'm always available for any questions. And I'm out there to help anybody who needs this, help building their finances, helping with credit restoration, and reach out for anything. So I'm here to help.
Great. Chip, what do you think is the big takeaway for this week?
Well, it's wonderful to meet you and hear about your two careers based upon your labor of love.
Oh, thank you.
Obstacles that you've survived and are living with, and then paying it forward by helping people doing it. But I mean, the takeaway is it's so important to take off the blinders on your finances, thinking that everything's going to be okay, and get some help because it's out there. Even if it's just to guide you and put together a plan that, thank you for the plan, I'm going to stick to it, versus ongoing support. But you definitely have to have these in place because there are so many different obstacles out there that you don't know about, and so many variables. And so get help where it's needed. I mean, that's what these people are trained to do, and they want to help you out.
Yeah, I think for me, the big takeaway is, you have to take your head out of the sand. You have to pay attention to what's going on. So many people don't want to look at their finances, but it really is important. And we really should be teaching financial literacy in school, but it's good to know there's a resource since we're not doing that right now.
Eric, may I mention one thing?
Sure.
And what's so great about this company, and I'm sorry, I have to brag, they have a program for the youth financial literacy program that actually, so each time somebody pays on a monthly for their services, they $5 goes toward the youth financial literacy. They go to schools, they work with kids, young kids, for 5th grade up to 9th grade, and teaches them all about finances and credit and how everything works. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah, so that was another reason why I went, oh my God, since I work with kids,
Right.
But anyway, I just wanted to say that.
I'm glad you did. I love that. You've been listening to the Success Showcase. You can catch us every week at xvadio.com/podcasts. You can also